I am a videographer, a content creator, and Brady's a marketer. And we thought, what better than to have a podcast between a marketer and a content creator to really help you learn how to fuel your business with the products that we create.
Yeah, Chris and I, we have these chats all the time. So like, why not just record them and see where it takes us? We're going to not put any labels on it and overcomplicate it, but we're going to record these chats and put them out for you guys. So hopefully you'll enjoy it and get some stuff out of it.
Yeah, we finally decided to take this off of FaceTime and put it on Zoom because we thought we were having really good conversations on building our own personal brands. And then we were like, and even frustrations or things that come up in our own businesses, we call one another to bounce ideas off of. And was like, why not just create this on LinkedIn or on YouTube and put these in resources where people can find benefit in them. And we can also maybe even find help on problems that we're facing. So creating a little bit of community
Yeah,
around content and marketing.
yeah, man, it's the perfect yin and yang in my opinion. Like from my point of view, you really can't have one without the other. I need content creators for what I do in the digital advertising and marketing space. Content creators need us, guys like me, to get eyeballs on all the cool
Mhm.
stuff they make. And so it makes sense that we have this good back and forth all the time. And it works in personal life and then in business, especially because you really can't have one without the other if you want to be successful, in my opinion.
I've seen this in the past too with clients that I work on. I can create a really cool video, but if we don't have marketing placement for it or they don't market it appropriately, they have a really cool video at the end of my time working with them. And it's something that I did early, was more worried about creating these super cool videos, but now I'm really value based with what I'm creating with content. And it's almost like a part of my sell is like, I'll create you this video in terms that you do have a marketing budget for it or somebody to properly market it, because I don't want that to reflect any failure on my end. And I want it to be, heavily advised. And this all really brings us to our first topic about, the first or the two most important things in the external business operations are content and marketing for this purpose.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I mean, like if you have a really strong content operations and really strong marketing, man, you better hope your internal operations are in shape and you actually have a good product or service because you're going to get business coming your way. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
keep that business, that's up to the people within it to keep that going, but you're going to get those initial customers. Um, so it's pretty cool with like two people, two skill sets. That's all it
Mm-hmm.
really takes externally. So it's pretty amazing how we can make that happen.
For sure. And so in even going into this, what do you think the most important thing for anybody who's, marketing their content or their video for the first time in their business? What are those key things?
Yeah, man, I'm a broken record on this. So, I mean, if you've heard this before, sorry, but it's that important. You have to know your audience. Like, if you know your audience inside out and like really know them, like what they're interested in, where they
Mhm.
live, their age range, gender, yada, yada, we can do a lot with that. Um, I mean, I just almost everybody you talk to, um, at least in the early stages of business, they just want to reach everybody, right? They're like, well,
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
product this can work for everybody. I don't want to limit myself. It's like, okay, but let's focus on a specific type of person first. I mean, in this situation, it's kind of okay to stereotype. And
Yeah.
of course, you can reach out and get to more people over time, but that initial customer, like, it should be a very specific person you're trying to reach. And that
Mhm.
helps on the content side too, because you know what
Yeah.
type of messaging to create, who's going to be in the videos. I mean, if you're trying to push like an older health product, like you don't want a teenager in the video. I mean, just stuff like that. That's pretty obvious, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
that's the number one thing.
for sure. And even on the content end of the stuff you're speaking about, whenever I talk to clients and create sales, I'm like, who's your avatar? Who are we directly selling to? Because once we know that, not only does it, visually in the message that we're creating, but it's also how the video is constructed from my end. Are we doing like, is it travel? Are we doing teal and orange? Is it kind of moody? Are we going on the blues? Are we hitting the yellows and the temperature? Like there's so many aspects into the creation of the content along with the marketing of like what we're creating, because our job is to emotionally, especially on content, is to emotionally trigger somebody to follow a path that we're providing that'll benefit their life or lead them to something that is more beneficial within their life. And
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to ever say I control people with the content, but we emotionally move you to move in a certain direction. Like Dan Coe says, marketing is moving people from A to B, and the more visuals and the more construct we have and the more information, we can move those people a lot more efficiently, but also making sure that we're doing it in a very ethical way.
Yeah, totally. And it's funny because it could start on either side. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going into a business to help them out, say they need some Google campaigns or they want to reach more people on social, um, one of the first things after discovering who their target audience is like, what type of content are you working with? If they don't
Mm-hmm.
have anything, I'll reach out to like you, ideally, right?
Yeah.
And if they do have content, I'm like, send it to me. I'm not even gonna discuss anything else until I see the type of content you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you could say you want to reach people on a specific platform and this type of audience, but if the content isn't geared toward it, I can't use it. It's useless.
That's a really good perspective too. A lot of people, I don't think they understand this because I'll get reached out to specifically in content and they're like, I just need Instagram Reels. And it's long
Yeah.
form content, or they have something that is more like I've learned more recently is if you're starting something new, you have to create more long form content to create trust, to throw a ton of value, and also like educate people subconsciously on what you're doing and very consciously on what you're doing. But it's like sometimes we get approached and they're like, oh, I need Instagram Reels. And I'm like, dude, that's a dope YouTube video. Not only can you get really good analytics, not only can you market it on YouTube, not only will it look better in the YouTube frame, but like that's YouTube content, not Instagram Reels. And that's a really good point of like where to place the content because it's like a different girl or it's a different person that you're taking on a date.
Yeah. No, it's so funny. Like I mean, for people that aren't in our world and in our spaces, like I don't blame them. They wouldn't necessarily know, but it's always funny
Mhm.
if when people come up and like, oh, I need YouTube content. It's like, stop. Why?
Yeah.
Like not you don't want to just be somewhere for the sake of being there. I'm like, does your
Hmm.
audience are they there? Do they care? Do they want to see this stuff? Do they have the attention span to watch a video more than 3 minutes long?
Yeah.
So that's always a funny conversation.
And just to give the people the basics from, I know from the content side, it's like YouTube's algorithm. However, it's changing every day, but it more fits the content of 4 minutes and 20 seconds. It's almost like your pre-course education content, but it can also be marketing videos. Like we house marketing videos that we use for, our own content on YouTube on unlisted playlists. And then we're able to market those and see the analytics amazingly. Like it's incredible. Whereas something on like Instagram where it's a minute and a half on a reel, but you really can't get too much of the analytics if you're running it as an ad and so forth versus what you can do on YouTube. And and then TikTok, like where TikTok and Instagram Reels, like what are their actual conversions based on, something other than like if you're creating value on YouTube and so forth. Hopefully I'm not rambling on that. You could probably cover that a little bit better.
No, totally. And I mean, that kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Like, why do you want to do a certain thing? Like, if your
Hmm.
end result is to get more business, I don't really push for TikTok or Reels. Like, those are general brand awareness, and it's a good starting point. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, it depends what you do, but um, yeah, I mean, you have to understand your audience and where the conversion opportunities are. So
Hmm.
a lot of times those aren't the popular places that you might think.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see that. And even like you bringing it up to me yesterday, I'm so lost in content creator world and, building my personal brand and stuff. I forgot all about LinkedIn. Like it's the
Yeah,
business Facebook. No wonder people haven't been looking at my Facebook posts because they aren't very personal. They're personal towards my business and stuff that I'm building right now. But I was like, hey, ding dong, like this is the pond for business and you're posting on the pond for family stuff. Like,
oh, it's funny. I know LinkedIn gets overlooked, so shout out to everybody watching on LinkedIn. We see you. We see you. Um, and people go there for business. It's a very
mhm,
specific thing that people go to this platform for. So, and that's knowing your audience. Like
mhm,
for your coaching, like LinkedIn is a great place. Like for somebody watching that wants to be a content creator and
yeah.
is trying to find their own place in the entrepreneurial world. Like you're probably doing something here on LinkedIn. So, and they're on Instagram too, but it's like fishing in the ocean versus fishing in a lake.
For sure. I'm gonna be a really good coach on that and actually go through the process with my student on that right now because I have not done a good job on LinkedIn, which, humbled by those you teach. So it's all part of the process. I actually did LinkedIn Premium when I first got into entrepreneurship and dove right in. And then somewhere along the journey, I guess Instagram and Facebook took me by storm. And then YouTube's its own caliber too. I think I've really early as a creative, I focused a lot on YouTube with content and anything integrated with Google, I love. I mean, let's go down that rabbit hole. Is that something you can really
Oh
talk
yeah.
about? So I mean, like
I
even when we
mean,
run
yeah.
ads, like where do you push people and why?
I mean, Google's my most recommended for sure. Just the capabilities of it are far surpass a lot of platforms. I mean, like you have the social side, which is very specific. We consider those walled gardens where there's a lot of restrictions to them. They're very squirmish about certain topics.
Hmm.
You're also limited when it comes to like data and audiences and a lot of those things. Then you have like the programmatic side, which is like, um, an ad you might see in an article. Um, if you scroll down on like whatever Yahoo News and you see something in the middle of it, that would be like a programmatic example. Google's like everything you could ever want. And you have the power of the data of people's search history, which is pretty vast.
Hmm.
And the cool thing is, yeah, YouTube goes right along with it. So you can use those hand in hand. And Google's like a 10 in one. I mean, you could use anything from like local search to display to video, push people based on like brand interest to brand awareness. Like the possibilities are really endless when it comes
Hmm.
to Google. So um, that's a good starting point for just about everybody, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I feel like from what I know about it too is like Google's just integrated into everything, right? So
Yep.
Google works well with a lot of people and places. And like I said, on the video side, whenever I started the video creation in YouTube, I was so hyper fixated on the analytics. But YouTube's analytics paired in with Google marketing is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, how cool is it that you can build a YouTube channel, get a ton of awareness, and then use the Google Ads side to target people that watch your YouTube videos?
Yeah. Exactly. And it's especially something like for instance, like my content creation, people who like my content creation, they're in my market. But if they're aspiring to be content creators, now that I'm coaching, I can shift and fish in my own pond in my community that I've created.
Yep.
And that's like the coolest thing for anybody, especially if you're watching this and you're building a personal brand. It's so cool that, and this is what I'm working on right now too, is this personal brand building creates your own pond to fish in. And once you get these people from something that you've built, like travel videos and fun content that resonate with you, now you've inspired them to build something like what you've done. Now you have direct access to them, and now you're putting them in this customer pool of people who really trust you. And if you can bring value to those people and pull them, like for instance, what I do is I'm pulling them out of their 9 to 5s into something creative and doing it full time, like that person is going to have so much trust for me. And then when I can create the value and say, hey, for my coaching, it's not over until you generate the revenue and how much it costs. Dude, that's like the home run sell. Plus, these fish never die in my pond. They stick around forever. And it's like, what else do you want to build with me, you know?
Big Fish KC,
Big
Chris
fish. That's
Smedley.
why I named it, you know? I'm never leaving that pond. I'm the big fish in it. But I don't
Oh,
eat
that's
people in
funny.
there. I just welcome them in
No,
and it's like, how can I help you? Because early on in my content journey, it was money. It was like, let's pay the bills. And then it wasn't fulfilling. But to see somebody on the content side that I've worked with really, be successful with something that I've, helped them create, or we brought their vision to reality, others saw it, bought into it, and it's growing and it's changing those people's lives. That is like the most powerful spot I think to be in this content marketing world.
yeah, that's really cool. And I mean, I know on my side, like um, running the marketing, I love seeing a company that does their content creation well, or a
Hmm.
person that has great content. Like, I mean, that's how we linked up, a few years
Hmm.
back. I'm looking for content creators. I need that content. So, um, it's cool. I mean, I don't know if this is something to dive into also, but like it's nice building a little community of people that have like adjacent skill sets, if that makes sense. Like ones that complement each other really well.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I could run with myself and just find situations that just need advertisers, but
mhm,
like teaming up with content creators, and other similar spaces that aren't necessarily my specialty,
mhm.
it's huge.
Yeah, and this pulls me back to the earliest days of my entrepreneur journey. Right when I became an entrepreneur, I got a WeWork membership, and then I got a dedicated desk. And in that room, I had marketing, I had sales, I had HR, I had somebody who was in coaching. Wes Hamilton was actually in that room at the time. He was on the show Queer Eye and done public speaking and everything from there. There's just this amazing group of people that I didn't know at the time created this really strong foundation. But obviously, like I outgrew it or I got out of that world. And then now, like where I'm at in content creation, yesterday I hit up you. We're talking about how to market and grow my personal branding, my coaching, and also just get my content creation on the move too to scale that up. And then I also like was like, all right, well, I'm struggling with creating my pitch and this stuff. And then called one of my old clients and a mentor and somebody who I confide in too is Rich McCoy. Rich McCoy is on like the solar cells like God right now. This guy's amazing. And my time at Revis, like after I worked for them on a contract, like I learned how to sell so much quicker by simply filming it and creating content around it. But then randomly just got the push to hit him up the other day when I was really like in the entrepreneur blues. And then he just brings me back to center. Is like, hey, you're climbing a new mountain. Those skills that you learned, you scaled the last mountain, but now you're on this new one. It's time to pivot. It's time to learn some new skills, and you're not going to get up that mountain until you learn these new skills. But you also have to use the skills from behind you. And then it's like, and then talking to him, returning back to you, and just like pivoting to other content creators and other, people that are in this space. It just helps us grow and expand because you always know you got somebody to turn to in that time of need. But the worst thing you can do is dead squirrel and not turn to anybody and get ran over.
Oh man, yeah, it gets so frustrating just like spinning your wheels in your own little hamster wheel, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, they're definitely my days where I'm in here in my dungeon,
Yeah.
getting work done. Like, oh man, I got to reach out to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I'm stuck on an idea, like, and I need some outside perspective, like that's just big. I love the brainstorming side of things. Like that's the most valuable part
Mm-hmm.
of business relationships, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this is actually something. So Rich gave me this idea. He does it for his solar, cell stuff, but I'm gonna do it for my content creation and not even my content creation coaching. I'm focusing on coaching creatives, but I want to create entrepreneurs doing it like once a week community call. And it could be so powerful in the sense of what I'm building of having content creators and also having entrepreneurs because now you got these new people in business. I mean, you got a bunch of new people in business. And it's so funny how like the student that I have right now, as I walk him through and I'm coaching him on stuff, it directly impacts me. And it's crazy how the questions he'll bring up, I'm like, oh, here's what you need to do. And then it slaps me in the face. And I'm like, that's what I need to do too. Crap. Okay. Well, thank you for reminding me that. And that's a big part of our conversations. But simply having that community to mirror this stuff off of one another and have a safe space to ask and to like consult one another is so important.
Yeah, it is. No, that's funny too. You mentioned kind of coaching him on things that remind you of what you need to do. I
Mhm.
love talking about what I do and like even getting to the basics of it, just to kind of like almost like ground yourself of like, I don't know, sometimes, especially in my world of like digging into data and the digital marketing space, it's just so large.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes you're just in the weeds so much, or like, what's that saying? Like, you're too close to the trees, you can't see the forest. Like, so it's cool kind of going back to zero. It's like, okay, let's simplify what we're doing here. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's important, like, even as you advance to spend time talking with people earlier in the journey. So, and that's a lot of what you're doing, which is
Mhm.
I find really cool.
Man, I like something that you just said there. It reminded me of a job that I think I was texting or talking to you about. This guy. So it was Bill Perkins with Sci-Fi. So I was editing this Sci-Fi happy hour they did with like what's her name? Sanchez. It was pretty much like
Cody. Cody
Yeah,
Sanchez.
Cody Sanchez, Bill Perkins. I mean, there's a bunch of people who built big tech startups, and I got to edit this happy hour video, which was like so powerful at the shift of my beginning of this year. And Bill Perkins is talking about Skyfi, and I loved how he just kept it so simple. He said, if any brand you're starting, you got to have something very simple and relatable to it. So Skyfi, I don't know if people are aware of them, and here's a shout out to Skyfi, but he said that they were Uber for satellites or satellites for Uber, whichever direction it was. But it was essentially like gave you the idea that you could pick up your phone, push a button, and get a satellite image of anywhere in the world at the click of your finger. And it was like before my buddy who got me this job was like, I was like kind of understanding it, kind of wasn't. And then as soon as I heard Bill Perkins say it in the video, I was like, well, I understand it.
Yeah,
And then it kind of smacked me in the face. And I looked at my brand and was like, well, when people ask me what I do, I give them a really long excuse. And now I'm
I
like,
know.
and then
Oh,
I shifted that to like, I make videos that make people content or make people money, like more money than they spend on me. And then the last guy I talked to, he's like, "Oh, you're in advertising." And I'm like, "If that's what people attach to, so yeah, I create advertising content and videos." And then it's like,
yeah,
"What do you do now?" I create full-time creatives, and once I create those full-time creatives, if they need marketing videos, I got content or marketing content that I can, create with them for them.
yeah. I know. It's like you don't want to put yourself in a box, but at the
Hmm.
same time, if you tell them people you do a million things, to them it means you don't do anything, or
Yeah.
at least you don't do anything well.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've I've simplified what I do so much over recent years. Like I'd offer everything under the sun in the marketing world like a few years
Hmm.
back, and now it's like my slogan is results only advertising. Like I just focus on what works in the advertising space. That's it. Like
Yeah.
everything is simple about it.
I
Um,
I like that, and that's something that I see with clients that I work early on in video production, or it's something that I started to meet people at the rebranding phase of their business, which is a really cool space because you get to see them solidify and kind of cut out the crap that isn't working for them anymore. And whenever I'm making these videos, whether it be shooting restaurants or restaurants are a great example, but I'll pull in some others. But it's like I ask them like, what is making you the most money right now? So if they offer video, photography, and graphics, I'm like, which one is making you the most money right now? And they say videos, and I'm like, great, we're going to focus on your videos, but sprinkle in that you do other content. And that might be,
yeah,
whether it's they have to ask for it, but videos are making you money. So focus on the videos, grow it. The universe or the energy that you're putting into it is working and it's generating more. So let's generate more. But then with restaurants, when I shoot for restaurants, I got to have 60 seconds to create a video, which isn't a whole lot of time. So I got to show the atmosphere, the food, the drinks, and so forth. So whenever I ask them about food, I'm like, what three dishes make you the most money? What drinks do you sell the most of? Let's show people that you have them. But then we also can leave room for products that aren't quite, maybe they're new or novel, and sprinkling those in the videos too.
yeah. It works for anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
not just for the services space. So restaurants is a good example. Like I don't know, and we're kind of foodies, right? We'll get
Mm-hmm.
into that in
Yeah,
future
yeah,
videos.
we're some
So
foodies.
so anyway, um, I have a hard time like if I'm looking for a place to eat
Hmm.
and there are all these restaurants that label themselves like bar and grill.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that like, okay, so what's good? What do you have that's good? I have a hard time with those. And a lot of
Hmm.
them are great, but you just have to go test them out. And it's like you don't know what their specialty is. But if you have like, say you're in Mexican food place, but you have tacos in your name,
Mm-hmm.
okay, like, oh man, that place must be awesome on tacos. Tacos is in the name. You know they have that right. So tacos sound good. You're gonna go there and try that.
Hmm.
But if you just say, whatever Mexican food, like you're just gonna be lumped in with everything else and you're not gonna be seen as having a specialty. So it can be kind of tough to find your own space.
Yeah, and I think what you're getting at there too is like for instance, I'm a content creator who specializes in video content.
Yep.
So then I put myself in this content creation space that is like he can probably do it all, which I can do it all, but it's like I really focus on video because audio is not my favorite. photography is more of a hobby, and creating YouTube or creating graphics has essentially just been a skill I learned from creating YouTube and clickbait. That's also good for like marketing content and a little bit of that side. But it's like, what is Chris do really good? He makes videos. That's what I want people to see me as, the video guy. But if they need somebody to do the extra stuff, I have that. And sometimes when I deliver, videos or for pitches and sales, I'll go through their websites and I'll be like, they need some new pictures. So I'll put it in my proposal. I'll be like, complimentary pictures for your website. And in the proposal, I'll state like, this is from our call. I did my research. I went through your stuff and found that you're lacking this, but I'm not going to shove it in your face. I'm going to throw it as something complimentary because it takes no time.
That
No.
that's exactly right. And that's the thing. And I meant to get to that before even, but you need to have a specialty. That's what'll hook people in.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're there, going back to the Mexican restaurant, for example, they come in for tacos. But if they see other good things there, they'll get other things. It's not like that's all you'll sell. When people come to you for video, they're like, oh, we could sprinkle in some photography. Yeah, we'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really more of just a branding thing, honestly.
Yeah,
Like, how do you market yourself and what specialty like aligns with you the most? And that's just a
mm-hmm.
way to get people in the door. From that
For sure.
point, once you have a customer or a client, then you can bring anything up to them, right? But you just need people to get in the door. And if you do everything from people on the outside that don't know you, they assume you can't do anything.
Yeah. Man, I have a scenario I want to run by you. Hopefully this doesn't stump us
Give it
up
to me.
here with this flow. So I just shot a video for a restaurant and it had whiskey and wine in its name. I did not get a
Hmm.
whiskey shot that whole night. It should be called wine and espresso martinis because all they were making was espresso martinis. I didn't see an old fashioned. It was bizarre, and it when I was editing the video, I realized it. I was like, I didn't get any whiskey shots. But then I'm also like, besides, like, I got a really cool shot of like the bar and all these 2 layers of whiskey bottles. But I was almost like, well, since whiskey and wine is in their name, it's pretty well out there that you can go there for whiskey and wine. But then as somebody who's observing, I'm seeing a lot of espresso martinis. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier of like, well, espresso martinis are selling really well, so they must be really good there. People will know that they can go there for wine and whiskey, but
Yeah.
also like they got a really bomb espresso martini.
My question there is a couple things.
Mhm.
Is it an established business that has been around? That's my first question.
They seem pretty new. I didn't do my research on it. This was from a company that sent it to me.
Okay.
So
And
I just went in and shot.
do they have any content with their main two items, whiskey and wine?
Ooh, I'd have to look. I didn't do any research, which this is really funny because I think our next episode should be research the client before you go. So this was a last minute shoot, dropped on me, and I was like, cool, we're going.
Yeah,
But so
and I mean honestly, like of course it's kind of up to the client, right? Like if they want you to shoot this stuff, yeah, I mean you're kind of a hired gun in that situation. Like, you do what makes the client happy. But yeah, those are my two questions. Like if they've been around a little bit and they're established and people understand that they have good whiskey and good wine, yeah, a content video around the other items could be
mhm.
of value, right? So
Yeah, I just looked at their website. They do have whiskey as the second item. So it goes steak, whiskey, and then wine or addition of wine.
you gotta drop the steak.
Got to drop the steak. Yeah, that's crazy though. So, but when we did the video shoot, steak was a big part of their shoot. So, I would say steak, wine, and whiskey maybe, but and espresso martinis. I just thought that was like very unique. It's a different scenario for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind the name too much. I mean, like I was talking about before, there's something in the name. Like I
Mhm.
used the taco example, but whiskey and wine's like, okay, so I can have the whiskey, the wife can have the wine. It's kind of a good yin and yang.
Yeah.
It hits on a couple of specific items. So I don't mind
Yeah.
it. So hopefully they have some other content to complement what you shot for them.
Yeah, they will. They will very soon. That's why we worked with them.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So you got anything else you want to add to this? I think we're in a pretty good flow or have a pretty good amount of knowledge from this episode.
No, I think it's a good first shot. I like what we're doing here.
Hmm.
I don't know if we want to do a little like weekly wrap up. I know we're doing some new things with a client revolutionary wellness. We could hit on that real quick
Yeah,
since
yeah,
that's a
let's hit on
joint
Revwell.
project of ours.
I like that. Yeah. So we both work with this with Kristen Dashke on revolutionary wellness, and we got to ping pong these content ideas. We actually just did some new stuff. Hit them with what we did and why we did it.
Yeah, man. So we've been doing this podcast, Revolutionary Talk, mostly, I mean, as a YouTube show, right? But
Hmm.
you could refer to it as a podcast. Um, typical podcast format, um, 10 to 15 minutes, sit down, go over topics, kind of round table between actually myself, Chris, and Kristen. And, it's one of those things after so long of doing the same style of content, we don't want to put ourselves in a box. And
Hmm.
a lot of the reason we're actually doing a little switch up here is with the emergence of YouTube Shorts and the opportunities there. And really just getting like the goal with this is brand awareness, right? So I
Yep.
know we were talking about earlier in some situations that wouldn't make sense, but in this situation it does. And we kind of dropped the podcast title. So over this past content shoot, we're pushing more micro-sized content versus the typical sit down and really just opening up our world and not pigeonholing ourselves so much. So, um,
Hmm.
yeah, we got that shot last week. Chris sliced and diced it all up for me, and yeah, we're all scheduled out here on YouTube and social, and so definitely check that out, guys.
And I think it's a really cool market too. Not to go too far into this one, I don't think, but it's really cool to see how you can make content for Instagram Reels, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts now. But YouTube Shorts, from my own kind of exploration with Reels, and Instagram allowed me to monetize my Reels, so I started putting them out and playing with them. But then taking that content and throwing it on YouTube, the same content from Instagram to YouTube, it was getting about the same views, but the subscribers were just shooting up. And it's crazy how I can drop these like super dope cinematic, like 100-hour edits that really don't capture the subscribers like the simple YouTube shorts do. But the YouTube shorts are really good for capturing an audience that relates to what I want to show in the bigger videos to keep that view retention time up longer.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly. And
it's
and it's just like
incredible.
it's just keeping up with the industry too, right? We see that
Mhm.
YouTube is they're wanting to become more of a social platform. And you do that through micro-sized content, things that are more shareable, will drive engagement. And if you go like on YouTube, I mean, this happens to me a lot of time. If you're like typing in something you're interested in watching, a lot of times like 7 out of the first 10 videos will be shorts popping up. They're wanting
Yeah.
you to get engaged with shorts.
Hmm.
And it's not going to be like this forever. I mean, Reels used to take off like crazy, right? And it's not like that anymore. You have to work really hard to put
Yeah.
together short reels that hit. So,
And and if somebody's watching at this point, I'm gonna give a lot of value right here because I this has been really really helpful for me. What I do is this is my reels and shorts method. Is I grab my phone whenever I get an idea that I want to share with somebody. I don't share it with them. I write it down on my phone and I create a short note. And it's so simple that whenever my note gets pretty long, I simply set up a light, set up a camera, set up a microphone, and I just record myself answering these questions, or I ask myself in my head, like, whatever that question was, to give myself the point to elaborate on. But now I'm like looking at that note, and then I'm seeing like, how can I still sprinkle in my coaching, my content into everything that I'm posting? And then that gets people to capture in that net to like, hey, come to my pond. Here's all the stuff I offer. Plus, here's my other videos of examples of my work. And
yeah,
it's such
yeah.
an easy way to create content once a month that takes like 25 minutes, and then, editing it and with all the caption stuff now, it's like it's very simple, it's very efficient. It takes 1 or 2 days, and then I have 30 shorts that I can post just for the next month.
No, it's awesome. I mean, for revolutionary wellness, like
Hmm.
we have enough content for about two a week through May.
Yeah.
They're already scheduled out. And
Yeah.
I know that they're going to bring in more views, more subscribers, and just extend the reach. So, and then from that point, like you mentioned, like once you get people into your pond, they're subscribed, they're going to see more of your stuff. So it's
Mhm.
almost like, not not to refer to people as like little fishies or whatever, but it's like bait. you
It's a
know?
good visual. No, yeah, yeah. It's a really good visual. And it's something that is really cool about it. I don't know how this works for me, and maybe it works for you whenever you're posting these Revwell for Kristen, but it's so cool to see like how I'm thinking about something for the day, or the theme of my day is the reel that I'm posting and sharing. And I recorded it like a month ago. And I'm just like mind blown. And I'm like, well, this is cool. It's meant to be. Because previously I'd used to create like a content library stock, and then I would never release it because I was growing so fast in the content I was creating that it was so outdated. So early on, it really didn't make sense. But now that I'm pretty well on my foundation and I'm learning new skills, but it's still pretty consistent, that it's like those videos will last for a month now.
Heck yeah. No, I love it. And I mean, it's funny because it's like the same amount of time to shoot, I don't know, say a 10-minute podcast and slice that up.
Mhm.
Like it's like the same amount of time as say 4 shorts. And you're
Yeah.
gonna quadruple your reach,
Yeah, exactly.
at
And
least, honestly. It'd
and
probably be more.
something that these people probably know too. And if you guys don't, it's a really good tip. But anytime these social media platforms create new perks or new things, when you use those tools, they throw you higher up in the algorithm. And it's like shorts is the new thing on YouTube. So if you want a greater chance to have a viral video, then you want to post it to the shorts because it's getting seen by a lot more people in the impressions. But then it also just gets the people, used to seeing you. And if you can get that, and then they get curious about what you actually do, and you help them with one little thing, then they're going to reach out to your other content and see all the other resources that you have.
Do it. I agree. That's a good lesson to end on.
Boom.
Always be on the lookout of what platforms are doing. And any new
Hmm.
thing that they put out, know that they're focused on that and going to try to push it to more people. So a lot of
Hmm.
times you can take advantage of it.
Yeah, and then just sprinkle your own magic onto it. Just sprinkle your own content into that form, get it to fit, put it out and see what happens. You never know what's going to go viral and when it's going to go viral. Just if it does go viral, make sure you
Never
got
know.
something ready to go.
Yeah, always
But
something to show.
all right, Brady, real quick, tell them I guess man, we didn't even say really our brands. Where can people find you if they want to work with you and your offering?
Yeah, everything's Braddog Media, BRADDOGMEDIA. Obviously, our socials and sites will be in the description everywhere. So
Mhm.
definitely check that out. Yeah, and my big thing is relationships are like the most important thing to me in business. I'm always up for a conversation. So that's always my initial offering. Feel free to reach out. I will get back to you. We can start from there.
Boom. Yeah, I'll definitely, if I'm posting it or you're posting it, we'll put the links down the bottom. My brand is by Chris, so BYCHRIS.io. And so I'm doing content creation right now, really focusing on building marketing or hero videos that will increase revenue for you and really amplify and showcase what you do so well. Then I'm tiptoeing into, not really tiptoeing, it's kind of attracted me really quickly, this one-on-one coaching and really helping create full-time creatives or people to really step out of their 9 to 5 and live or step into that dream job that they really want that is fulfilling. So for the coaching, I'm offering one-on-one, and I'll also be offering a weekly, what is it, group, a Zoom group, a community where we can get on and, really talk about what our vision is, how to build it, and resources to build that vision. So that's like my lower ticket group offer. And then right above that, I got the one-on-one, which is where you get to work with me. We get your vision, we build your brand, and I take that content creation background and really advise you on how to build it. And then if you want me to create that content, it's a little bit higher ticket for that. So all those offerings will be down in the description box below. And I look forward to working with you or even connecting with anybody watching this video. And if you guys found some value from this video, tell us what that was in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And also, like, if you have any questions, drop those because I'd really like to understand how we can really share our talents more and create more value for you so that you'll definitely work with us in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Leave some notes in the comments. We want your feedback, and maybe your topic will come up on a future conversation here. So don't be
Boom.
shy.
Love that. All right. Well, everybody have a good week and keep crushing your stuff. Peace.